Okay, 3 things that I wish I knew before buying this bug zapper, because getting these things right is going to make all the difference on how this works. So this is the GOOTOP Outdoor Bug Zapper, and in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly where to put it, exactly what to expect once it's up and running, how to keep it clean and maintained, why I picked this over those other ginormous, bulky models, and how it holds up around your kids and pets. So I found myself outdoors every evening this summer, and I was going absolutely crazy because the bugs were horrific. We live on a very damp property, so we attract a lot of mosquitoes. The last thing I wanted to do was hire a big company to come in and spray my yard with chemicals or put chemicals directly on my skin. And let's be honest, those citronella candles just don't work that well. So I started looking into bug zappers and I landed on the GOOTOP. I've been very impressed with it so far, but there are 3 things that I wish I knew about it before buying it. Let's go ahead and dive into it. The first thing that I wish I knew was that placement is everything. So how this works is it actually pulls the insects in toward the UV light. So if you set this up too close to where you're sitting, you are actually going to be attracting the bugs directly toward you. I did that the first night. It was a bit of a disaster. And then my common sense kicked in and I said, okay, I need to move this further away from my seating area, which worked out great. The bugs went to the light instead of to me, and I had a much more enjoyable evening experience with my family. The second thing that I wish I knew before buying this was that you are going to hear the zapping sounds when a bug flies into this. It caught me off guard for a minute at first. It actually startled me. I had a little bit of a jump because I just wasn't expecting it to be such a zappy sound. Once you get used to it, it's honestly kind of satisfying because you're like, oh, that is really working over there. That thing is just obliterating those mosquitoes. So I did actually come to appreciate the zapping noise. It's just something I wasn't expecting necessarily. Now I have talked to some friends and family who have some of those giant, bulky, massive fly zappers, and they tell me that the zap that this makes is so subtle in comparison to the zap of those big, bulky units, which honestly makes me feel so much better. But just for reference, I had this sitting on my deck, which is about 10 feet from my kitchen. I was in my kitchen at my kitchen table with all of the doors closed and the windows closed, and I was able to hear the zapping through the windows and through the walls. Not a big deal for me personally, something to note depending on how close you are setting this up outside of your home and if you plan on opening your windows while this is running, because you will hear that zap. The third thing I wish I knew about this bug zapper before I got it was that it is going to need to be cleaned and maintained. But thankfully, the brand makes that very, very simple to do. They give you this really nice, neat little brush, and I'm gonna go ahead and shut the unit off for a minute to show you. And you can stick the brush right into the outer grid here and knock off any of the bugs that kind of get fried and stuck right onto the actual electric piece itself. It's really easy to kind of knock them off with this brush, and then they collect in the tray at the bottom, which then you can very easily dump out. I recommend opening up that bottom tray outside, just a personal preference. A bunch of dead bugs in my kitchen isn't something I'm looking to do. So I would go ahead and open that outside when you are looking to clean this out. I personally cleaned mine probably about once a week and found that that was efficient and enough to keep this running smoothly and properly. And like I said, I get very, very easily grossed out by bugs, and really this was a pretty simple process. Picking this up, unscrewing it, giving it a little shake, giving this a little dust, and you're back in business. The other thing worth noting in regards to the maintenance of this unit is that this does run on a 15-watt bulb, which does eventually fade over time. So in order to keep this running and working at its best, you're going to want to replace the bulb. The brand recommends about once per season. So at the beginning of the season, swapping that bulb out and getting it ready to go for those summer months. And in my experience, that probably tracks. I have been using this for a bit of time now, and I haven't seen the bulb start to fade yet. And I leave it running quite often because, like I said, we do spend a lot of time outside. And just for reference, this does say it covers a half an acre of land. We usually have this set up in the corner of our driveway because we tend to sit in the driveway while the kids ride their bikes and play with the neighbors. And I have had no issues whatsoever and felt like this was easily enough coverage for that particular situation. Okay, I went ahead and turned the unit back on, but I want to talk to you about why I chose this unit specifically, because there are a lot of units out there that are heavy duty. And while they probably do a phenomenal job getting those bugs and maybe covering a little bit more space, I needed something that I could take out of the box and immediately set up to start working. I spent a lot of evenings alone with my kiddos. So I didn't want something that was going to require two hands to move. I didn't want something that was going to be really large and cumbersome. I wanted something lightweight and easy. And this is exactly that. I pulled this out of the box, I plugged it in, I put it up on a cute little table, and I was good to go. There is a hook here at the top if you do want to hang it. That is also another really great option. I personally thought mine was just fine on the little camping table that I had set up. The last thing I want to make note of, which is very important to me personally, is how this works in regards to your kids and your pets. So thankfully, the brand did a really good job. The electric grid is totally enclosed by this protective housing. As you see, I'm trying to kind of get my fingers through there. These, it's narrow enough. You really cannot get your fingers in there. So that gave me some peace of mind in regards to my kids that are always walking around, and as kids are, very curious and love to touch things. So you can rest assured that their little fingers should not be able to access that electric field. As far as all the other options that are out there, you've got chemicals, you've got sprays, you've got fragrance from the citronella. This is just light and electricity. So no worries about harmful chemicals being ingested by your pets. A great example, do I leave this on the video? A great example of that zapping sound, which if you're not ready for it, can catch you off guard. I'm glad you got to hear it though. No sprays to worry about, no chemicals to worry about. You don't have to worry about your pets or your kids ingesting anything you don't want them to. This runs on light and electricity, which is such a win. So plug this in, stay on top of the cleaning. You have no bulky equipment to worry about, no chemicals to worry about, and this thing just sits in the corner and gives you that satisfying zap every time it proves to you that it's doing its job. I'm a big fan of this. Definitely highly recommend if you are in the market for a bug zapper. I hope this helped someone, and that's all.